Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices like Wingspan Asia. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to Asia to look at some more beautiful birds. We're taking a look at Wingspan Asia, which at first I thought was just an expansion for Wingspan, but it's not. It is an expansion, but it's also a base game for a 1 to 2 player game as well. It's a standalone game. So let me show you what's in this. I'm gonna show you how it's different, what it does differently from the other versions of Wingspan. So here we go. Now, Wingspan Asia isn't just an expansion, it is a base game for 2 players, but there are 90 new birds from Asia in here, and they're as beautiful as you would imagine. Lots of different looking ones too, like look at this, it's almost like it's a fowl there. Look at all these things. Different ones here. Now there also are some cards with this little red in the corner. This is used for sort of like a quick start guide. So let me show you a little bit more about that. So they've been putting these swift start guides in the base games of Wingspan as well lately, but it's cool because it has a guide. It has one for each player. It tells you which exact birds you start with. And again, look at this. This one is right there because it has this little red mark. It tells you what to start with for a bonus card and what tokens, and it actually walks you through your first 4 or 5 turns. It teaches you the game as to like what you'd be trying to do, and I think that's really cool to get people that aren't quite into this hobby. This game is so popular, it brings new people in. I like that they did that with this specific version. Now, I'm not going to show you how to play Wingspan itself. I have another video that I've done a full review and a full overview. If you have never played Wingspan before, you can watch that review and see how it's played. This is going to be just what is different about this one. Now here, each player is going to get tokens, either black or white. And on their board, they're going to place one of these tokens on each of the spots where you might be placing birds. Now the back sides of these boards are basically the boards that were used in the expansion of the Oceania expansion. So you could play with that with these extra boards too, because as I'll talk about in a little bit, you can add a 6th and 7th player when you have this set. So let's say on my turn, I played this bird, and I could play in any of the habitats. Let's say I pay the cost and I put it here. When you put it there, if it has one of these tokens, you will place it somewhere on this duet board. Now, this is a big part of the game because the round end bonuses are specific for this duet mode that come with this game, and they're double-sided. There's actually 6 of them. You don't use each of them each game, and they're double-sided. So all different goals on here. You can be placing this on the map. Now, I put this in the water, so I have to put it in one of these spots that are on the water here. You'll see there's water, then there's sort of the forest, and then there's the sort of the mainland there. So here I can place this. Now I used wheat and a worm. So I could put it here because I used wheat, or I could put it here because I used a worm. Now it's also higher than 50 centimeters, so I could put it here. It also has this nest, so instead I could put it here. So you have lots of options, sometimes beak to the right, sometimes things like that. All different things, and you're placing them here, but why are you placing them here? And that's because of these goals. So at the end of the first round, whoever has the total amount of these on the map is going to score the points. 2 points in the first round. The other player gets nothing. In the second round, at the end of that, whoever has the most on the different nests, the total nests here. Third round, whoever is not on the edge of the map, or whoever has the least amount on the edge of the map. So you're going to be kind of avoiding the edge until this round, and then afterwards it doesn't matter here, the most in water. So I've been already kind of thinking about this, and the points go up 2, 3, 4, 5 for the person that has the most in this. So it's really interesting. Plus, at the end of the game, your largest contiguous line of these that connect with this is also going to get you a point for each of those. So you're also trying to sort of cut your opponent off from that and block them from there. Also, if you place a bird and you didn't want to place it here, you can place it here, and then on your turn, you essentially can use this to either reset the birds, meaning wipe them and put new ones there, or you can reset the bird feeder, so re-roll all the resources. So lots of options here. This is the main part of this new duet player, and I really love it. You also get some bonuses. If you were to go here, if you were able to go here, you'd get an egg. If you go here, you get a draw bird card. If you go here, you get to take a resource die and take a resource. So this is really clever because it really makes a 2-player game completely different, but I love it. And there's also many more new bonus cards in this game. A few of them are repeats from the base game with some updated lists of the different types of birds that you might find. And if you want to look at these further, you could just pause here and read these goals. Now, this game's at a lower price point for a reason, and one reason is they just have this as opposed to the big bird feeder dice tower. And this works just fine, and it helps keep the cost lower. And they have this board where you place the birds that are open for people to take. And there are 3 birds that have a game end ability, which is cool. But again, all these birds, again, they're doing different things. Even if you just wanted to add these birds to your expansion of the main game, you could do that, or you can play with the base game here with the duet version. It also comes with a little cardboard sort of holder that you can hold the tokens and the eggs that come in this version. And just like the regular Wingspan, it does come with an Automa solo rules and solo deck. I'm not going to go over this in detail, but they did keep that robust solo mode here in this version. And as you would expect, there's a great appendix that talks about all the end round goals and which birds point left or right and all the different bonus cards and all different birds. Lots of details, just like the other versions of Wingspan. Very well documented. It also comes with a notepad to help you score, because remember, now you're getting points for your duet tokens in the largest contiguous group. Now, flock mode allows you to play with 6 or 7 players, assuming you have the base game. And you can play with, so you essentially will be setting up 2 groups, either a group of 4 and 3 for 7 players, or 3 and 3 with 6 players. And so each group has their own set of dice, their own set of birds, but they are sharing the common goals that you're all fighting against. And essentially 2 players are going to be playing simultaneous. You sit in the turn order around the table in this order of what cubes they are. And like this turn, the yellow player and the red player will go. And then next is going to be green and purple, and then white and blue. And then it keeps going like this, so that you'll be having people in each of the sides of the table simultaneously taking turns, allowing more people to play without it taking extremely long. That's pretty much how flock mode works. All right, there's Wingspan Asia. Now, before I get to the review, I want to let you know that if you enjoy my content on my channel and you want to get some bonus content and help the channel at the same time, I recently started a Patreon page where you can get all sorts of bonus exclusive material like first impressions videos. I actually put a first impressions about Wingspan Asia a couple weeks back that you would have heard a lot of this beforehand. And many times I do it on games I won't just end up reviewing at all. You can also vote on which games I review. You can get stuff early, lots of different things. So check it out at patreon.com/GameBoyGeek. All right, so for Wingspan Asia, again, I thought this was just an expansion when I first heard it announced because I didn't really read all the details. And then when I finally was looking into it, I was like, wow, this actually is a base. So it's a base game that you can play 1 and 2 players. It's an expansion where you can just mix the birds in, and it will allow you to play with the base game up to 6 or 7 players. This is the Swiss Army knife of board games. It does everything. It's pretty cool in that regard, and I like that they kind of tackled this from a different way. Now, if you just want the expansion, it's great. You get 90 new birds. When you can easily mix them with the base game, that's exactly half of what's in the base game. It's even more than what was in Europe, which only had 81 cards. It says 90. So if you just want to use it for expansion, you could do it. You got the tons of new birds. As you can see, some of them look very unique. So obviously some new powers and such. So no brainer if you like Wingspan, you just want the birds, no brainer. My favorite part about this is the 2-player standalone duet mode. Wow, I loved this. This, I feel, did for Wingspan what recently Splendor Duel did for Splendor, which was it took a game that was already great, even at 2 players, and added an abstract nature game, like an abstract nature to it. And it didn't overly complicate the game. It didn't make it harder to play, but it gave the game another layer of depth. It gives decisions that are just, there's more to think about. You're looking at where they're going. You're looking at where you're going. You're trying to cut them off. You're trying to get the bonuses. You're trying to do different things, and it's influencing which cards and where you play them and what resource. All this. It's really brilliant. I love the 2-player version so much. I might never play the regular version of Wingspan again, 2 players normally. I think I'm always going to play it like this. Again, you get 6 different bonus tiles. They're double-sided, so there's 12 of them, and you're using 4 of them each game, right? So it's always going to be a little bit different. I just loved it. Loved it. If you play Wingspan at all 2-player, it's worth it to just even do this by itself. I mean, it's just to get this for that. In fact, the person who recently played this with 2 players, you saw on the score pad there, Greg, he's on my channel a lot. He doesn't even own Wingspan, but he loves it. And Wingspan is one of those games, every time we play it, we go, gosh, this game is so good. Why don't we play it more often? And I think maybe because it's always in the news. It's always this game everyone's talking about that so often it kind of like, you hear it so often that it almost does the opposite effect, But every time we play, we're like, wow. And then even this time, so he doesn't even own it because we just played my copy. But after playing this, he's like, man, I think I'm just gonna buy this because he'll play with his wife. He's like, just two of them play the games a lot by themselves. He's like, man, I don't need the base game. I could just buy this. And then later on, I could buy the base, and that's really cool. I think it's nice that you can get this at a lesser expense. It's not quite half of what the base game costs, but it's definitely less. And if you're only gonna play it 2-player for most of the time, I think that could be good for most people. That's how highly I think of this 2-player version. I like that the double-sided bonuses. So again, being able to look at 12 different bonuses in this game that all have to do with that board is cool. So it still does feel unique. Sure, after a while you're gonna see the same things, but For example, in the last game we played, we were supposed to stay away from the edge of the board until the whole game, because it was the 5th round, right? So we're like ignoring the side of the board the whole time. But then another game, it might be the first one. You're like, okay, I'll ignore it this round, and then I'll jump out there in the other rounds. And just, even though the goals are gonna be the same, depending on when they come up, it still feels like a different game. Now, I like that you're trying to have the largest contiguous presence. I like that you're trying to, for the biggest points at the end on that duet board. I like that you're trying to cut the opponent off and block them from being able to get that large contiguous. Now here, I did not play the flock mode 6 or 7 players, but I guess it's a positive that those that want to do it, Stonemaier is a very thoughtful company. I'm sure that they had enough research and enough people asking to add this. I've never wanted to play with 6 or 7. Quite honestly, if I have 6 or 7 players, I'm going to play a game that was originally designed for that. Stonemaier has a great, probably their most underrated game, Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Amazing, plays up to 7 players, and it's a drafting game. It's fast, it's awesome. Those are the types of games I'm going to play at 6 or 7 players. Here, sure, it's not going to take as long as if you just played 6 or 7 players normally, because 2 players are playing simultaneously, but you're still, from what I've read, playing a 2-hour game of Wingspan, which in my opinion is probably, for me, it's too long for this type of game. But I'm sure there's plenty of those. If you want to do it, it's great, it's there. I mean, really didn't add much to the cost because it's like one little board. That was all they did, a little circle board. So it's there if you want it. The only negative here is my base box was already full with the first 2 expansions in the base game. However, they knew this was going to happen, so they actually are now offering this big, huge nesting box that will fit everything now and everything later, apparently. So the only negative is done for the base box, but hey, they've provided a solution. I'm not sure if I'm going to get that. I might just keep this expansion / game separate so I can just pull it out with 2 players and play the duet mode on its own sometime. And then I have all the other expansion mixed there, so there you go. Now, normally I don't give saxophone serenades for expansions, but since this isn't just an expansion, it actually is a base game for 2 players, a new way to play. It kind of breaks the rules here. So without further ado, let's hit it with the saxophone serenade because it's staying in my gaming library. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table into a high-quality gaming solution, but they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with over 20 styles of thematic game mats in 11 different sizes from notable board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and real cool accessories, experience what thousands of other gamers enjoy by upgrading every game you play with a Game Topper system. Save hundreds of dollars on Game Topper package deals that are in stock now for immediate shipping at GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.